Davis Broussard got up along with him. Ground ball hit the dirt right through his legs. Here comes Martinez. We're tied at 3.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Back to full. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be a tough play. The Cubs with the World Series. Brian makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all.
Welcome in. It is the Going Yard podcast. I am your host, Mike Pendleton, and we are now just days away from opening day. I do not do this show alone, so let me bring in my co-host, my partner in crime, as a man who never stops working, just like me. Brandon Combs from BetMGM tonight. Brandon, what's up, man?
What's going on, Mikey? Man, look, it's a constant grind. It's a constant battle, and all we keep doing is moving forward, brother. And
That's
baseball is 5 days away.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And honestly, from a sports mindset, I just think that baseball is better for my health, right? Because especially in the first month of the season, you're going to get so many day games as they try to push the product. They try to push the new streaming services. So it's man, instead of being well, there's no football, college basketball is about to be over. You're you know what? I'll take a Cardinals-Pirates 11 a.m. game. I don't care. I'll take a Twins and a Rockies 1 p.m. start. I don't care.
Yeah.
And, I'm very happy that we started this for that specific reason. Before we look forward to the year, man, let's look back at the tournament that was the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela wins. They are the champions. And to be quite honest, pissed because they beat Italy. But I changed nothing of what I've said since this tournament started. I was not impressed with Team USA. I don't think Team USA brought it. I don't think Team USA cared. And I've got questions on Mark DeRosa.
Yeah, look, I think Mark DeRosa failed Team USA. I really do. Heading into that championship, he had a chance to make up for everything. And with all of the comments that he made, in the prelims and not knowing the rules, and now you're in the championship game against Venezuela, a really good Venezuela team, by the way. Congrats to them. They wanted it. They went out and got it. I'll never forget Daniel Palencia crying before the final pitch, just wanting to win that game. That was awesome. It's always going to be incredible stuff. But Mark DeRosa, from the start of that game, you sat the 2 players with the highest OPS on your roster. You sat Gunnar Henderson at PCA because you wanted to play the matchup, lefty-lefty matchup. You are in the championship game. You play your best players. And at the time, PCA and Gunnar Henderson were 2 of your best players. And you sat them. And then you started, and then you did that. And then what did you do in the 9th inning? Instead of bringing in Mason Miller, we were going to be respectful to the Padres, and we weren't going to bring him in unless, if we were going to bring him in a tie game. Why? Why weren't you going to bring him in to preserve a lead or to preserve a tie to give yourself a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 9th? I don't understand what you were thinking. And to me, I'm out on Mark DeRosa as a manager. I actually hope that I'm right. I actually hope the Cardinals do hire him, because he'll run them right into the ground, and I can't wait to watch that. But I just, as a manager, as a baseball person, there is no way you can look at Mark DeRosa after this World Baseball Classic and think that, let alone move forward with Team USA. He's got to be out there too, but he certainly cannot be at the top of anybody's managerial list come this next cycle.
I want to push back a little bit because I don't fully agree on D-Ro. I think it's a lot easier to manage and adjust. Look, he looked dumb, right? All due respect, he looked awful in the media. But when you have to respect the well wishes of baseball organizations, players limiting themselves. Hey, is this thing on? Tarek Screwball, I'm talking to you. And players that seemingly were out. And I think that's where my biggest focus comes into. For me, it's the players. I think you look at, okay, this was not the Olympics. I am very well aware of that. I know Rob Manfred had said maybe there's a discussion in putting the World Baseball Classic in the middle of the season. We'll talk about that here in about 5-10 minutes because I do think that's intriguing. But whether you push it up or you change the schedule, the understanding has to be clear between the World Baseball Classic, between all MLB organizations, and between every single player. There are going to be X amount of spots on these teams. And if you don't want to be here and you're not fully committed, there are 20 guys behind you from every country, every nation that was represented that will take your spot. Pro or minor leaguer, they want it more. So I think we really got to figure out the player landscape before we completely put it all on DeRosa.
Well, that's the thing, though, because when you look at whether it's on DeRosa, whether it's on the Padres, whether it's on Mason Miller, what did Venezuela do? That you think that if Venezuela, if the game was tied in the 9th inning, you think that Daniel Palencia wasn't coming into that baseball game? You think that Venezuela cared about the Cubs' wishes? Daniel Palencia was coming in to pitch that 9th inning, whether it was to preserve the game or to win the game. Daniel Palencia was going to pitch. And if that was Puerto Rico, if that Edwin Diaz would have pitched, if that was Dominican Republic, their closer would have pitched because their players care more about the tournament. And that's what it boils down to. The American players in this tournament, I won't say all of them. I'm not going to lump all of them into the same thing, but a vast majority of the American players showed that they didn't really care about this tournament. Bryce Harper with one of the most incredible home runs, game-tying home runs in that 8th inning of that championship game. I cheered for him. He could have cared less whether or not he was there. And he proved that the entire tournament. Every time that he spoke about it, he proved that. Kyle Schwarber seemed like he wanted to be there. Mason Miller seemed like he wanted to be there, like he wanted the ball, like he wanted to pitch. But you got guys like Tarek Skubal backing out. You got guys, Paul Skeens looked like he never wanted it to end because he knew he was going back to Pittsburgh after. Like you get some of these guys, and Terrence go, I want to get ready for a World Series run. You pitch in Detroit. You're not getting ready for a World Series run.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't get the passion. Like I don't understand why American ball players aren't as passionate about it as the Latin ball players. And they just are. The Latin ball players care more about this tournament than the American ball players. That's why I don't think that even if you move this, there's talk about this thing moving to the summer, and I've said that since the beginning. Players, if they're going to play this, need to play it in the summer. But it's going to have to be played with collegiate athletes. It's going to have to be played with minor leaguers for the American team, because there's no way an Aaron Judge, a Bryce Harper, a Tarek Skubal is going to say, hey, well, everybody else has 2 weeks off with their families, I'd rather pitch for Team USA, or I'd rather pitch for Team USA. They just won't do it. And you're going to see a lot more guys, especially out of Team USA, opt out. I listened to Wilson Contreras talk yesterday. They asked Wilson Contreras about what the World Baseball Classic meant to him. He said, I won a World Series in 2016. And I love him for that. And he said, but nothing beats winning the World Baseball Classic with Venezuela for my country. And that is why Venezuela beat Team USA, because they had 25 ball players on their roster with that same headspace. And Team USA just doesn't care. And okay, fine. If you don't care, you don't care. It doesn't make you unpatriotic. It doesn't mean you don't love your country. It doesn't mean that you hate the military. It just means you don't want to be there because you're not into it. So let players who want to be there play. Let them be on the roster, because the name on the front, that is the one tournament that you can go into that is a whatever you want to call it. You want to call it a exhibition tournament, fine. But that is the one exhibition tournament that you go to where the name on the front matters way more than the name on the back, especially in baseball.
Completely agree.
I think that until that happens, until we get American ball players that care, and I think that only happens with amateurs and minor leaguers.
So I'll push back on that. I do think there are pros that care, and I would challenge, the two of us, baseball fans and baseball as a sport, to really think this out. Because, man, if you're hearing that, number one, it's a bad look for the Major League Baseball. It is a bad look to hear World Series champions, guys like Tarek Skubal who play for the Detroit Tigers. You're trying to revive a city, revive an organization, revive a franchise, and you hear so many people say, I'd rather win it for my country than win it for my team. So how can Major League Baseball pivot on that? And how can they make both matter? Well, I think there's a lot of layers there. So I'll break it down simply like this. You look at the NHL, and I know you're a big hockey guy, so I'm not going to misspeak, but the Four Nations tournament was amazing. And I think that could be where the Major League Baseball is looking at as an example. But I would caution this. If you're going to do it in the middle of the season, well, now you have the other thing to worry about, your All-Star game, the last of a dying breed, the only All-Star game that matters. And what do we see? Players pull out of the home run derby because they don't want to mess up their swing. The All-Star game, now more than ever recently, people have played like it matters because it does. So what do? Do you institute hey, if you're named to the All-Star game, it's one or the other? Interesting concept right there. Would Paul Skeens rather? You don't get the credit taken away, right? You don't say, "Oh, I'm not." It's very again, I'm kind of going in circles here, but it's like you're a Pro Bowler. Yes, you were named. Shedeur Sanders was a Pro Bowler in the NFL this year, but there were other quarterbacks also named the Pro Bowler that didn't compete. So for me, you could still be Paul Skeens. You could 100% still somehow be an MLB All-Star. Not somehow, right? But representing the Pirates. Or you can go represent Team USA. And I think if baseball were to do that, it would be the biggest wake-up call that the league offices has ever received. Because in my opinion, you're going to see more players go, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go play in the WBC.
What if you in years that you do the WBC, because the WBC is once every 3 years. I think this time, because of the Summer Olympics, it'll be the 4th year. Because I think the next one is in 2030.
Yep.
So what if you're the WBC? What if you do that in replace of the All-Star game? What if you still do the home run derby? Because you can't take away the home run derby, because for me, All-Star week, look, I love baseball and I'll watch the All-Star game and I love it. But that week is about the home run derby.
100%.
Like home run derby is appointment television for me. Like I make sure that I'm not doing anything unless I'm working, and then I'm still watching it because I'm in the studio. But it's appointment television for me. The All-Star game, I'll probably have it on a second screen. You know what I mean? But it's not. It won't be the end all be all that day. Like I might be playing video games. I might be playing the show while I have the All-Star game on the second TV. Right. So it's just, for me, I think that when you look at that as a whole, when you look at the WBC, I think that in the summers that you actually play it, I think it takes the place of the All-Star game. But then again, I don't know how you format that. I've heard, Pat Boyle, who does BetMGM tonight with me. Pat Boyle said, what if you did the prelims in March? And then you did the elimination rounds the week of the All-Star week. I don't like that either, because I think that I think it just changes things, right? Like it changes, it's not a tournament at that point. Then you get what I'm saying? Like it's two separate entities, because a player in March is not at the same form that he is in July. He's just not. So I think it's two different entities, and I think you get too many players complaining. Well, I mean, if we were able to play in July, we'd have been a better squad, and you'll have all of that talk. But I think there's ways to fix it, but I think ultimately in the end, what it really boils down to is the only place that it needs to be fixed is with Team USA. All the other countries care. All the other countries want to be there. All the other countries want to win. That's why I don't know that it's ever going to change, because maybe it's just one of those things where, hey, Team USA is comprised of all college players and amateurs, and that makes us root that much harder for these guys, right? Because these guys have a chance to beat Major League ball players who are playing their asses off for their country. So go do your thing.
I can already tell I'm never going to talk you off this narrative of amateur and college players in the WBC, and that's fine. But I will respectfully disagree.
You know how you can? Give me
how?
25 Major League Baseball players that care about being on Team USA, and then I'll change my tune. But we've never seen that.
Okay, well then I'm gonna need a week. So next week I will present you with my all passion Team USA roster.
Okay.
So that's my assignment for the week. But let's end this conversation on this on my end here. Set a precedent,
Yeah.
baseball. What is the biggest thing we have seen now in the year of 2026 across the pro sports and the highlighting of their best players? The Pro Bowl is a joke. The NBA All-Star game and weekend is a joke. I understand the WBC is every once in a while, 4 years. So every
Yeah.
3 years, take away the All-Star game. I love that idea. I think you absolutely keep the home run derby in there. You're
Mhm.
going to find players want to play for their country. They'll be in the middle of the season because, with all due respect, the Major League Baseball All-Star game, while it is the most intriguing and entertaining and most rewarding across the major sports here in the States, it's just another baseball game. It is simply just another baseball game. The World Baseball Classic is not just another baseball game. And I'm going to take it one step further. And I'm not going to harp on Team USA, but I'm going to make very many enemies saying this, Brandon. So let me bid you farewell because it was lovely doing this show with you. I am about to hit cancel culture.
Okay.
I take away nobody and their heritage at all. But let's look around the world and let's find a few more relevant regions, countries, and cultures to represent the World Baseball Classic. Now I have some that I was willing to sit here and call out, but I'm not going to do that because at the end of the day, I don't want to get canceled. But I think there are a few teams, whether it's because of talent or because of lack of interest, that you could probably go around the world and find a few more places that care a bit more and make it really a world. And it is a global event. I'm not saying it's not, but I
Mhm.
think different countries replacing the lower level countries, putting it in the middle of the season every 3 years. Now, maybe you take some of the sports greatest players for the next 2.5, 3 years from 2026 until the next WBC. Now you've set a goal. Do you want to
Mhm.
be a 3-time All-Star and represent Team USA in the World Baseball Classic? I sure as hell know I would. I would skip out on 4 straight All-Star games and just win 3 if it meant I could go play in the WBC.
Yeah.
Like earn something here. So keep the All-Star game, but on the year of the WBC, take it away and give us a 2-week, 3-week tournament for the WBC. Because at the end of the day, also, what do a lot of teams and a lot of players need? Rest. And what do fans have in baseball more than any other sport? Fatigue. You get into the All-Star week, and I'm not talking about you or I, right? Because we could watch baseball Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. However, fans of the sport, it's too long of a season. It's this, it's that. So now, if you just take away your teams and you get fully entrenched into this classic, I think you would really change the way not only baseball is viewed, but how other leagues handle the very best talent in their game.
Well, I also think that too, if you did this differently, if you did just do the amateurs, right? Like, what's one of the greatest things about hockey, right? Is these players care no matter what. I mean, you put Team USA when they went to the Olympics. I mean, they cared. Russia cared. Everybody cared. Hockey players are a different breed. Same way, why like in the middle of hockey season, I'll also watch the World Juniors because those guys care and it's good hockey. It's fun. I still think that you'll have your baseball fans, if you were to do this in the summer with collegiate athletes and minor leaguers, I still think that you would still have that draw. Now, is it going to be the same draw as your major league talent? Probably not. But at the same time, if I told you that Team USA was playing tonight in the championship against or I'm sorry, let's say this is July. But if I told you that the Team USA is playing the World Baseball Classic Championship against Team Puerto Rico, and it's collegiate players and amateurs, or tonight the Major League Baseball All-Star game is on. Which one are you watching?
I'm watching. Unfortunately, I'm watching the All-Star game.
See, I'm watching the WBC. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's different things. There's different ways that you can do this, because you could watch the All-Star game, but at the end of the day, I think eventually, one, you're a psycho like me, so you'll have it on both screens and you'll be watching both anyway. But
you didn't have to call me out to that extent. Like, you're right, but my level of interest, and the only reason, just so you know, the only reason I'm looking off screen is because I really do want to challenge you right now. So as you're talking, I'm putting together my list of players to compete in the all game. I'm going to be honest, you'll be quite surprised. I'm only through the AL East, and I've already got about 8 players.
I just don't think it's the same. I don't know if you'll get me to believe that it's still the same passion as any of the other countries. I just don't think that you will. I mean, unless you're throwing at me like, some old school guys like John Rocker, who just wants to beat the hell out of anybody anyway. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know if you'll be able to convince me of the same passion. You'll probably be able to convince me it's a good team. I just don't know if it'll be the same passion.
And that's fair. I just think so. Here, I'll just give you the first 5 that I started off with in the AL East: Adley Rutschman, Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, Roman Anthony, Aaron Judge. Outside of Aaron Judge, 4 of those guys are relatively young in baseball. So while I'm okay and respect your opinion of amateurs and collegiates, Brandon, I didn't even get through with the list. Give me the Ethan Hollidays, the Connor Griffin, the guys that are on the front. They're in the and you say amateur and collegiate. I say give me some of the best young players. Give me the Paul Skeens, the Jacob Mizorowskis. Like, all due respect to you as a Cubs fan, Alex Bregman is great. I'd rather make sure Alex Bregman is better for the Cubs than he is for Team USA. I think baseball has enough young talent that has cracked the major leagues. No one loves this country more than young people. I think that's to an extent, right? To an extent,
hates it at the same time.
Right. But I think I'm talking specifically from an athlete standpoint, because we've seen other athletes who have had to do it 2, 3, 4 times. And unless you get absolutely embarrassed, like Team USA basketball did in the Olympics way back when, and then they had the Redeem team, right? Like, you have to get absolutely embarrassed to reignite yourself. And although they made it to the finals, I do think Team USA got embarrassed. I think they got embarrassed in the media. I think they got embarrassed in passion. I think they got embarrassed in performances at times. So bring in a young crew of players, and they may not be baseball's best. There may not be Bryce Harper's and Aaron Judge's and all that, and Kyle Schwarber and Cal Raleigh, but maybe they actually give a damn. And I would caution you that Team USA's mid-level roster that actually cares is the greatest roster Team USA could ever put together.
So you just inadvertently made my point for me, and you didn't even know it. And here's why. You said Team USA got embarrassed, and then they ended up going to the finals. Team USA got embarrassed. So Aaron Judge was embarrassed, and then he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and had a 660 OPS. Like, so that's how you show me that you're embarrassed, that you need to go, that you need to prove yourself. You watched before the home run. Did Bryce Harper even have a hit? Like,
no. By the way, can I please just say this, because I got destroyed on this at our morning show coaching company? Do not pimp a game-tying home run. Do not finally show passion after being punched in the mouth all day long. That to me was that viral meme of Chris Paul hits a big 3 as the Suns trail by 43 points, right? So It was a great home run. It was a great baseball moment. But you know what the best home runs are in baseball history? Go-ahead game-winning home runs. One of the two. It's not game tying. And I understand the monumental side of tying a game up, but for me, I cannot. I saw the home run by Bryce Harper, and I said, oh, okay, cool. I don't believe they're going to win. And you pimped it like you just took a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, and I mean, but again, I think it goes to leader. I mean, how long did it take for Gunnar Henderson to finally get in that bat? The 9th inning. The guy was batting 400 in the World Baseball Classic, and you replaced him with Alex Bregman, who was batting 143. Like, what kind of decisions are you making? What kind of tone are you setting that this is a game we need to win, but our best bat is on the bench? Friggin' PCA is on the bench. His OPS was over 1,000. And we've got Byron Buxton in center field. You're not taking it seriously, and that's the problem that I have.
And you're not wrong. I'm still working on this list for you, by the way, because I refuse. I truly do refuse to believe that I cannot come up with in the moment. I mean, I'm just looking right now at the Phillies. I mean, fine.
I see what you're saying. So guys who are in their first 5 years, is that who you want on the roster?
Yes, thank you. Finally, that someone with half a brain or more than my half a brain can. Yes, if you have 5 years or less of baseball experience, I'm all in, dude. Because you look at some of these players, like, I cannot believe I'm giving this guy press attention on a national platform. It is no disrespect to you, but I don't think anyone's bought in on the fact that you can be good at the major league level. Mick Abel had a fantastic spring for the Minnesota Twins, and he is in the Twins starting rotation to start the year. Andrew Painter broke through the Phillies rotation to start the year. And this is not to look bad at Major League Baseball, but as someone like yourself and myself who love prospects, oh my God, I'm literally making your point for you all over again. There would be no better time to see the Travis Bazanas of the world, the Connor Griffins of the world, because at the end of the day, who really watched spring training with the WBC going on this year?
Exactly.
And so I'm not going to just say amateurs or collegiates, though. I'm gonna say year 1 to year 5. Because everyone else in baseball is old and grumpy. And I'm not
going to say amateurs and collegiates. I'm going to say prospects to make it sound better. I'm going to say prospects. Yeah,
I mean, that's how this works, Brandon. You have your concept and your thoughts, and I'm going to have mine, and they may be the same, but I'm going to say them so ass backwards that hopefully everyone is on my side. Because I mean, you say amateurs and collegiates, I don't care about what the best hitter at Wake Forest is doing. I don't care. And in Major League Baseball, if you want to say minor leaguers, the problem is I thought Travis Bazzana would have been huge for the Guardians down the stretch. Now, I know they played well at the end of the season, but sometimes you just go, hey, your second baseman, your left fielder sucks. Isn't there anyone better? And they're like, yes, but, contract and service time, and they're not ready for the majors. I would so much rather have a player struggle at the major league level, and I'll get dragged through the mud for this, but I believe this and I'll stand on this. I would so much rather have young guys struggle and figure it out rather than stay in the minor leagues and cost them not just service time, but spotlight opportunities. And that's when you're going to see, as we start talking about our season preview, that's why I love when young players get a chance to crack the opening day roster, because I think they need to go through it.
How much better would that home run have been in the 8th inning if it was Rock Kalowski instead of Bryce Harper?
Who?
Rock Kalowski. If you don't know that name, I'll punch you right in your throat.
I do not know that name.
You don't know who Rock Kalowski is? The shortstop, UCLA.
See that, but that's my
prospect
point.
In all of baseball.
Prospect. Not on is he in an organization yet?
He's a prospect.
Okay. So I think we need to clarify for those that watch, right? When you say prospect, you're talking about people who have not gotten to the league or gotten drafted yet. So I would ask you this.
Because once you make it to the league, you're no longer a prospect. You're a major leaguer.
No, that's that. See, I'm.
Do you think PCA is a prospect?
Give me JJ Weatherholt. Give me Connor Griffin. Give me Kevin McCongle. Give me those 3 names before the guy from UCLA who I'll never watch. So let them
be more home runs than all of them right now.
Okay, but my point is, prospects to me are in the major leagues at a lower level. They are with a major league. Yes.
Prospects that are at the major league level are major leaguers. You're at a major league roster, you're a major leaguer. You're no longer a prospect. You're a major leaguer. PCA is not a prospect. PCA is an
I'm
all-star
not saying
major
PCA is
leaguer.
a prospect. I'm talking about guys at the minor league level who are with an organization. So here's what we're talking about. I'll take Ethan
You
Holiday.
said guys in their first 5 years in the league. That's
I
PCA.
asked you, but I asked you if this kid from UCLA has been drafted yet.
No, he has not.
Okay, so that's my point. Guys who are not drafted, I have no interest in representing anybody in the WBC.
If you want to be technical about it, yes, he's been drafted because the White Sox have the number 1 pick. He's going to be the number 1 pick, so technically he's a White Sox.
But has he been drafted yet?
He has not.
All right, and now you're throwing shade at my boy Colson Montgomery, who's going to be the starting shortstop for the White Sox.
The White Sox keep posting about Rock Kalowski every time he hits a home run.
That's great. That's great. I'll fire their social media manager yesterday. All right. Colson Montgomery is the guy at short for the
I love
White
Colson.
Sox. Yeah. All right. Well, then stand on business. You know how I operate here. So let me put a bow on this whole debate argument we just had, which was actually a lot of fun. I'm going to read you the top 10 prospects on MLB Pipeline. Connor Griffin, Kevin McCongle, Jesus May, I almost call him Jesus, Leo DeVries, J.J. Weatherholt, Sebastian Walcott, Colt Emerson, Eli Willits, Aiden Miller, and Ethan Holiday. I will take all 10 of those names for their respective countries before I'll take somebody at UCLA, University of Tennessee, Wake Forest, North Carolina, any of those places, and I'll take those names over the likes of a Alex Bregman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Because again, you're making my point for me.
But I'm not.
You are, though.
Because you want to drag your pool. This is where I need Pat Boyle to come to my defense, honestly. Because he's the only one who can ring you in. I clearly cannot ring you in. You want to bring the pool into the collegiate side of things.
So you just want to keep it to minor leaguers?
Correct.
Okay, I'm fine with that, too.
Years 1 through 5. And to me, minor leaguers get either you're a minor leaguer or you're a major league player with no more than 5 years experience. That's your World Baseball Classic pool right there.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. You're like, well, now you're going to lose out on a lot of superstar power. Well, then Team USA should have cared. And maybe that's the precedent that Team USA needs to set. Maybe because I don't believe we need to see the Venezuelans or Dominican Republic. I don't think we need to see them with years 1 through 5. I don't think we need to see that because they're pros, they're veterans actually care. Listen to me as a Red Sox fan wearing a Cubs hat today. I'm excited for Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
Which is a very sad statement given the state of affairs in Boston at the first base position. Tristan Casas used to be my unsung hero every single day as a Red Sox fan. The dude can't stay healthy. So now I have had to accept the fact that Wilson Contreras is my first baseman for my favorite team, and I have to root for him. Do I believe he's going to have that same passion we saw in the WBC? No. But I wouldn't take him off the Venezuelan roster. So I think when I give this rule to be very clear of years 1 through 5 and minor leaguers, it's Team USA only because the veterans simply don't care.
Yeah, it's only a Team USA problem. That's why you know what I mean? Like it's Team USA is the only team that needs to be fixed. It's the only country that needs to show that they care.
All right, well then I'm going to have to go back and again, I'm not going to mention the ones, but I'm sure you can figure them out. All the teams played with passion. Some of them had little to no talent. So I think let's just strengthen up the pools a little bit. Let's fix Team USA. And then I think we have one of the best global tournaments in sports that we've ever seen.
Can't believe you talked about Italy like that.
I will find you. I thank you for your service every time I get the opportunity to. I know how quickly you can snap my neck, but I have a special set of skills. And if you ever talk about Team Italy, I will find you. I will sit you down.
I didn't talk about Team Italy. You did.
I am letting you know right now. I will find you. I will sit you down, and I will force feed you espresso and pizza until you say I'm sorry in Italian, and then repeat it for 24 hours straight. And then I will let you snap my neck after I let you loose.
Brother, telling you right now, you're gonna force feed me espresso and pizza. I'm a fat kid. You better bring a lot of pizza and espresso. A lot.
By the way, since let's put a ball on the WBC, and let me just say this: big time props to Team Italy, not just for how they played and how they finished. I don't know if you saw this, Brandon, but they are auctioning off the espresso machine that they used in the dugout during the WBC, and all proceeds are going to I believe it's a Midwest autism charity. Apparently,
how much did you bid?
See, this is where I feel
Just
like
say it quietly so that Candace can't hear you.
Well, first off, okay, I'm an idiot. So I was trying to look. See, well, here's the thing. I thought that Italy, as great of a country and great of people as they are, they would have their own currency. I just found out at 34 years old, it's euros. Italian lira in 1999 was their official currency, and I would have been cool with that. But no, it's just euros. And that's, if I'm being honest, that's just embarrassing.
You're today's year old when you realize that, huh?
I was, but that's like sad because so many things about Italy have transcended this world: food, culture, love.
I thought it was their currency, to be honest with you.
Like artwork, everything about Italy has transcended this entire globe.
Yeah.
And they can't even get their own currency. Brandon, you told me that my better half can't be listening in on this. And yeah, I might make a public statement right now that maybe I'll run for office in Italy, having not lived there ever in my life or being able to speak the native language. But maybe I'll bring real change. And I'll set a precedent for how this great, beautiful place could have their own currency, could have the best baseball players in the world. And you know what? Damn it. You give me an inch, I'll take a mile. Maybe I'll just put together the best damn Italy basketball team and football team you've ever seen.
Hey, I mean, the NFL keeps trying to go global. Why not have a team in Italy? I mean, we're going to freaking Australia this year.
Why not Rome, baby? Yeah. Why not Rome? And honestly, maybe I'll just be the connoisseur of sports in Italy. Maybe I won't be president or run for any. This is my plea here to Team Italy, to the country of Italy. In honor of March Madness, when you have Boombox Boy from McNeese State, who literally contributes zero to that program, except just being a fun, wacky kid, and all due respect, he makes more NIL money than I'll ever make in actual money in my life.
Yeah.
Italy, let me be that for you. Connoisseur of sports. I think I'm going to update that on my LinkedIn and my bios all across.
Connoisseur of sports.
Connoisseur of sports, and I'll write it in Italian, and then people will be like, "Wow, this is a thing." And we just started something today, Brandon.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, let's get on a serious topic here. We are just days away from Major League Baseball first pitch, as we love to call it. I hate when people go, the season's kicking off, and it's like, no, there's no kicking. Right? Like there's no, it's dipping off. No, we're not doing that either. So first pitch, Brandon, I want to start with you on this before we get into previews and predictions and all that. I want to talk about two big leaguers who got sent down to AAA. And I know this is kind of a stay on your toes here conversation, but the Nationals option Dylan Cruz to AAA, and the Yankees option Jason Dominguez, the Martian, to AAA. Are you ready to write either of these guys off, or bad move by the organizations?
So the Dylan Cruz one to me is interesting, right? Because like he's at the top of the Nationals prospect list. And I mean, did he hit 200 last year? Like, I don't even know if he hit 200 last year. And this spring, he's not doing very much. I think his OPS was like just barely over 300 with the last time that I checked. So I understand setting them down. Look, you've got guys that get sent down and come back up all the time. I mean, look, Kyle Schwarber went down 3 times with the Cubs. You know what I mean? And look at Kyle Schwarber now. He's hitting 40 bombs out in Philly. So you see this type of stuff happen here and there, right? At one point, PCA got sent back down. At one point, you look at with the Red Sox and with the Padres, you look at Anthony Rizzo, right? Like he was going up and down. So those things happen, but sometimes those things have to happen to get your head on straight. And it's different, man, because now that you'll watch Dylan Cruz, he'll go down to AAA and he's gonna rake. And then he might come back up and he might struggle again because it's different pitching. There's a reason why those guys are in AAA and not in the major leagues. There's a book on you. You're doing something that isn't catching on. Whether it's I haven't watched enough of Dylan Cruz up closely to know if it's fastballs or breaking balls that are his problem, or if it's just everything. Maybe he doesn't understand the strike zone. Maybe he doesn't understand he doesn't need to swing first pitch every time. I haven't watched enough of him up close to know what the issue is, but the organization themselves, I mean, they're not going to send these guys down unless there's a reason. Now, Dylan Cruz, I believe, will come back up. I mean, the kid has been great his entire life at the game of baseball. I think that he'll figure it out. I believe where did he go to college? I can't remember. I think he was an LSU guy.
I believe he was, and I can tell you this. He has a combined 211 batting average through his first 2 seasons. He hit 103, 3 for 29 in spring training. Now, Dylan Cruz's biggest issue as a player has been his health. He was
drafted in 2023, right?
2023. So in his first 2 seasons, he's batting 211, and he hasn't been healthy. So I think those numbers are skewered just a little bit because the plate appearances have not been there, the reps have not been there, and in limited opportunities. Now, I respect and agree with a lot of what you said.
That's a problem too, though, right? Real quick before you go, that's a problem too. Is that he was just drafted in 2023,
right?
It used to be once you got drafted. I mean, it was about a 5-year window before you were coming up to the major leagues. It didn't matter how good you were. And now I think a lot of times what we get is these guys getting drafted and they're coming up too early. They're coming up too soon. We're pushing them through the system too fast. Now, some of these guys can handle it, but I think that's few and far between. And I think we start pushing some of these guys up through the ranks too quick. And I think sometimes it ruins some of these guys too. And that could also be a case with Dylan Cruz.
Yeah. So I am on the fence on that because I believe if you draft a player in any sport early, I got to see them early. And I get it's different in baseball, but you're absolutely right. Here's where I disagree. James Wood, awesome. Jacob Young, Joey Weimer, Dalen Lyle, really, really good. A very fun name. Also a very fun name for fantasy baseball managers out there. Dalen Lyle, one guy that I'm targeting in every single league in fantasy baseball this year. I'm still in on Dylan Cruz. Yeah. I truly think it just comes down to health and reps. But with Jacob Young and Joey Weimer in your outfield, man, Dylan Cruz has got to be better than that. And it may not take long. Let's go to Jason Dominguez. And I'm only using these 2 names here, Brandon, because I want to lead into the biggest name that we have to talk about before we give our season predictions and get the hell out of here. Jason Dominguez. Man, the easy narrative, the easy pushback is, well, he plays for the Yankees. They're a stud team. There's no room for him. And that may very well be true. But at some point, if you're a former top prospect, you have to be better. Yeah, you can't be better than Aaron Judge. But you have to present better opportunities than Trent Grisham if you are that damn good as a young player, or to give Cody Bellinger some days off, and the Yankees don't see that. And they also have Giancarlo Stanton. So you're telling me Jason Dominguez, a former top prospect, is still not better than Trent Grisham or Giancarlo Stanton, who admitted he can't even open a bag of chips correctly? I mean, what are the Yankees doing? I don't think you can defend the Yankees here.
Yeah, I'm looking now because now I'm looking back at the draft class of Dylan Cruz. So Paul Skeens was number 1 in that class, pretty damn good major leaguer. Wyatt Langford was drafted in that class, been pretty damn good for the Texas Rangers early in his career too. Jacob Wilson drafted in that class. He's played pretty well at the major league level for the Oakland A's. And there was one more, Nolan Schanuel, playing for the Angels. And then Matt Shaw at 13, playing now for the Cubs. So you've got about 5 in the top 13 that have come up, and 4 of them have been playing at a pretty high level for their major league club that were drafted in 2023. So that goes to my point where some of these guys are ready and some of them aren't. I mean, you still, out of the top 13, 5 of them have come up. That means 8 of them have not, and 8 of them are not ready. So I think maybe Washington wanted him to be ready. Maybe he looked good in the minor leagues, those types of things. But then they rush him through the system. Just because a guy is hitting high A ball, well, good, move him up to Double A. Too many times I see a guy. The Cubs did it with Matt Shaw, and I had my concerns with Matt Shaw too. Coming up was, he's hitting well at high A. Oh, we're gonna move him to Triple A. No, move him to Double A. There's a reason you have a Double A team. You have a Triple A team. Like, move him up through the system. Let's see how he does at each level and progress him through. And it's not just 40 at bats, 50 at bats. We saw the same thing. We saw the same thing early with the Cubs in 2016 with a lot of those guys, man. A lot of those guys. Chris Bryant. What the hell happened to Chris Bryant? Javier Baez. Javier Baez was good for about a good 4-year stretch, and then just fell off. He had a resurgent year last year. He was kind of sort of back to being Javi a little bit last year. But I mean, you had some of these guys, and they got pushed so fast through, and it worked for a year. And then everybody, all of a sudden, after 2016, everybody started getting on that same program, trying to do what the Cubs did and strike gold. And I think it's going to hurt some of these guys more than it's going to help. I like Dylan Cruz. I hope he finds it. I hope he figures it out down in AAA, and I think that he will. But I'd like to see them give him a year down at AAA. You're not going anywhere in Washington. You're going to win 50, 60, 70 games maybe. You're not going anywhere. Let Dylan sit down in AAA until September. Call him back up. Let's see how he handles pitching in September.
See, I highly disagree, and it may not be because I have a lot of Dylan.
You just hate me and you want to argue.
No. First and foremost, maybe some buyer's remorse because, as you know, I got into the sports card and combat sports card collectible game. Recently just pulled a Dylan Cruz 15 of 25, so very limited.
Ooh.
Did not even net me $50. So we want Dylan Cruz to, but here's the thing, I got rid of it. So I should be like, whatever, I don't care, wipe my hands clean. But I actually have too many Dylan Cruz cards. None of them are as special as the one I pulled. But at this point, I just want to see the kid do good. I do want to go back to the Jason Dominguez conversation on this topic because I want to ask you about a guy in the NL Central that may crack his opening day roster, and it leads into all this conversation of top prospects. I will argue with you that the Nationals need Dylan Cruz as much as Dylan Cruz needs the Nationals, because figuring it out in AAA is one thing when you play for the Cubs, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mariners. Figuring it out while you have a major league established roster is one thing. Again, I resign to the fact and the belief that young players on very bad teams should have every opportunity to learn the major league world at the major league level. The Washington Nationals are not going anywhere. So why the hell not? Because at the end of the day, Dylan Cruz having a bad 3-week stretch is not going to change the trajectory of their season. That's just where I stand. So again, I'm going to go back to the Dominguez question and ask you, if this guy is so good, why can't he unseat Trent Grisham or young Carlos Stanton? Or are the Yankees telling us Jason Dominguez is just simply not that good?
Yeah, I think maybe they're telling you that they missed on Jason Dominguez. When you're trying to, when you've got these guys like Jason Dominguez, like Dylan Cruz, like sometimes you've got to try to figure it out. And you're right. Sometimes that is at the major league level, but you also can't kill their confidence. And if Jason Dominguez can't keep the ball over the plate, like Jason, we're talking about the same Jason Dominguez.
We're talking about the Martian.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought Jason Dominguez was a pitcher, but If Jason Dominguez isn't seeing the ball well with the Yankees, and if he's not able to, you're right. If he's not unable to seat a Giancarlo Stanton, who's going to hit you maybe 20 home runs a year, and he's going to strike out 475 times,
Thank you.
I completely agree with you, and I think maybe that's what the Yankees are telling you. Maybe the Yankees are telling you they might have missed. Maybe they're telling you that he's a guy that just hasn't figured it out yet, and he needs to go figure it out. And again, you can't kill that is a thing, especially, I mean, look, you're talking about playing in the NL East and the AL East, two of the toughest divisions in all of baseball. You're killing these confidence, and it's not when you're playing, if you're Dylan Cruz, you're playing the Marlins rotation, you're playing the Braves rotation, the Phillies rotation, the Mets rotation, which are all really damn good rotations. Maybe not the Marlins so much anymore. They kind of traded everybody off, but and then when you're AL East, I mean, you're talking about going up against Boston's rotation, but Baltimore's rotation, which is really good. You're just killing confidence. So go down, get some hits, get some at bats, get your confidence back, and then we'll bring you back and let you figure it out. But I think the Yankees are in a much different spot because the Yankees are a team that can compete to go to the World Series, whereas the Marlins are just a team that they're not going anywhere. And if this kid's confidence is so bad just in spring training, and he's not doing anything in spring training with an OPS just over 300, that's not good. Like that's not good.
And I understand that. And I think maybe this is why I've always been scared to get in the baseball world. Brandon, we're already almost at an hour and we haven't gotten into our predictions and previews for awards. Well, I promise you we're going to, but I'm not ready to end this conversation because I think this is where we're going to vastly argue throughout the season. For me, I believe to an extent for bad teams, you say figure it out at the minor leagues. I say stop crutching and handicapping these kids at the minor league level. I would severely argue that a Dylan Cruz or any major league, a young player who doesn't get set down and the team goes, no, you have to figure it out here. That player will either figure it out or realize the reality of pro sports at a major level. You're not good enough here. We're not protecting you with our minor league spot. You're gone from this organization. We see it in every other sport. And I think putting a young player's back against the wall, you either find that they can grow their confidence. I'm not saying this kid needs to turn around and hit 350, but man, hit 250, hit 260, right? Just be a little better. And you're on a bad team. So you can't be so bad that they're willing to take relatively known mid-level major league guys and say they're better than you and we're going to let you figure it out all season at the minor league level. I think these organizations, if you are heralded a top prospect, you cannot be protected by being sent up and down to the minor leagues. Figure it in the major leagues or get out.
Yeah, look, I mean that approach can work with some guys, and that approach, I mean, I feel like that approach worked with Matt Shaw last year when he wasn't figuring it out, when he wasn't able to hit, and they didn't send him down, and they were like, "Hey, you're gonna figure this out here." That approach worked. It just sometimes it just doesn't. I mean, everybody, it's like when you're teaching, right? Like everybody has a different way of learning, so you have to adapt to their way of learning. You have to adapt to what makes them comfortable. And most of these guys, look, when you've made it to even the minor leagues, you're on a different level than everybody else that played the sport at a younger age with you. So you're good enough to be there. And you've at some point, sure, you have to figure it out. Otherwise, you're a career minor leaguer. And if you're a career minor leaguer, it is what it is. But to just constantly, I mean, if he's just not figuring it out, and I'd have to tell you that Dylan Cruz is just not figuring it out, and Jason Dominguez just not figuring it out, you've got to go figure it out. And if you can't, then you're not meant to be here. I think it's the same idea, but putting it on a major, especially with the Yankees, man. I mean, look, you're not going to crack the Yankees lineup. I mean, if you're not going to crack the Yankees lineup, you're not getting at bats. Like you just want to throw Jason Dominguez in a Yankees lineup who's competing for the AL East and competing for a World Series, even though he's struggling, just to figure it out there. No, Jason Dominguez, I might agree with you with Dylan Cruz. Maybe sure you could stick him up here, but I just don't think he's figuring it out. So you got to try something. to help him figure it out.
Yeah. Let me be very clear. My thought process on this of figuring it out, it applies to bad teams. I'm more baffled that Jason Dominguez is supposed to be a top prospect and can't beat out Giancarlo Stanton for a DH spot. That's my problem. I don't think Trent Grisham is that good. Apparently, he had a career resurgence there in the Bronx, and Jason Dominguez is not better than him. That's fine. I personally think at the Yankees organization, Spencer Jones is the best outfielder not named Aaron Judge on that in that organization, if I'm being honest. But let me ask you this, and then because I want to move to the NL Central very quickly and then start our predictions. I'm going to ask you very simply. They were a bad team filled with young talent, yet they were one of the most exciting teams to watch for me down the stretch of the 2025 season. What team am I talking about?
Say it one more time.
They were a bad team, sub 500. They had a lot of young talent at the major league level, and they were one of the teams I was most excited to watch day in and day out.
Who? The A's?
The Athletics. Thank you very much.
No.
The homeless Athletics. You look at Nick Hurt, Shea Langoliers, Tyler Soderstrom, Lawrence Butler, Jacob Wilson. All those guys had to an extent had questions about figuring it out. How good can this team be? Well, we know how good Nick Kurtz is. We know how good Jacob Wilson is. I still believe that Jacob Wilson is one of the most underrated players in baseball right now. And I don't know if he'll ever get grouped to that mid-tier, second-tier shortstop level, but I believe he's right there already. Nick Kurtz gets all the attention because he hits all the home runs. Lawrence Butler was in a sense, Matt Shaw for a couple of years. Can this guy be good? Or, we see a breakout month from Lawrence Butler. Maybe we got to send him back down to the minors. So I bring up the A's to reflect back to my thoughts on Dylan Cruz. The A's finished below 500. That is where the Nationals are going to finish this year, below 500, probably severely below 500. And I would take an A's team like I would take a Nationals team filled with all the young talent than just veterans just trying to get through the year. If you're just trying to be the tortoise and get across the finish line, you do nothing for me. And that's going to transition over to the biggest talking point I wanted to talk about before the season starts in the NL Central. I have a Cubs hat on. You have a Cubs hat on. It's the same logo, different colors. Kind of cool. We did not plan that, just so everybody knows. Connor Griffin in talks reportedly on a 9-year, $100 million extension with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 19 years old, is in line to be the opening day starter at shortstop for the Pirates. So did I cherry pick this topic because it fits my narrative, Brandon? Absolutely. I will read to you some of the names on the Pittsburgh Pirates depth chart on ESPN.com. At shortstop right now, Nick Gonzalez. Third base, Jared Triolo. Brandon Lau. Okay, I'm fine with him. Spencer Horwitz. But Nick Gonzalez is listed at third on the depth chart, at second and third, and they're starting shortstop. My point being is Pittsburgh doesn't have a ton of major league talent that gets me excited for their future. They have Paul Skeens. They have some good young arms. I think Henry Davis started to come into his own at the catcher position for Pittsburgh last year. But outside of Brandon Lau and O'Neill Cruz, Brian Reynolds, man, the Pirates need Connor Griffin. I think they believe in Connor Griffin. And I would never go and root for another team in the NL Central. But damn it, Brandon, the Pirates make me want to watch more games, because even if this kid starts 2 for 20, they saw something in him that made me believe he deserves that spot.
Yeah, and he's had a fantastic spring. I think he's hitting nearly 300 as well. I mean, he's been fun to watch, and he's a great story. I don't know that if he – look, it's the Pirates, so anything is possible, because if you make less than $2 million, they'll put you on a roster. So it's one of those things with the Pirates. I think that they're just run differently. And the thing with Connor Griffin, you talk about, Connor Griffin and, it feeds the narrative, but Connor Griffin's figured it out. Like he's doing well in spring training as opposed to some of these other guys who aren't, like Dylan Cruz. Connor Griffin's fun, man, and the Pirates are going to be fun. I said this before, and I'll say it again, and we're going to talk about our predictions for each division. I think it's the Cubs, the Reds, and the Pirates that are the top 3 in this division. I think the Pirates are better than the Brewers this year. I think this team is young and up and coming, and they're ready to make some waves. I think they can win 82, 83 games this year, and they're going to be fun to watch. I think Paul Skeens will be fun to watch once he has a defense behind him. Connor Griffin's been fun to watch defensively too. If you don't know who this kid is, watch a couple of Pirate games early on this season, because you'll learn pretty quick this kid's going to be fun to watch for a long time. But I think if he struggles for the first month,
don't say it. Don't.
I don't think that they sent him down, but I mean, here's a question. If you have a guy in Connor Griffin who struggles for a first month, and you have somebody who you can put in that position, does it do Connor Griffin good to sit the bench and watch, or does it do Connor Griffin good to go down to AAA and get some at bats?
Who can you put there?
Well, you're the Pirates, so nobody. But
that's the point right there. That's the absolute point right there. Don't fill me with a Nick Gonzalez can do a serviceable job while Connor Griffin is struggling. I don't care. Don't tell me Jacob Young from the Nationals can do a serviceable job while Dylan Cruz. I don't care. I don't have any interest. If you want to buy me into your future, whether he is good or whether he is bad, because at the end of the day, what I think these baseball teams need to do is wipe their hands and say, we gave every ample opportunity to said player. And again, I am probably of the 1% who think this way when it comes to Major League Baseball. And I'm sorry. And I know you're going to hate this. And again, maybe this is why this will be the greatest baseball podcast to be born in 2026. Maybe I'm the old man yelling at the clouds because I hate WAR and exit velo and all the advanced metrics that these guys use, grade 55, grade 60. I don't give a damn about all those things, Brandon. And I don't give a damn about bad baseball teams protecting their minor league talent by keeping them in the minor leagues. I don't care. I simply do not care. And I think if there are bad teams, you put as many top prospects that have, even if they've shown a glimmer of hope, you give them an opportunity. And that way, when 3 months goes by, because guess what? You weren't going to be a good team anyway, and you either moved on from them in a trade or you just get rid of them and then they find a second resurgence, that's on them. But these teams, I'm just sick of hearing, oh, this guy's been in the organization for 4 or 5 years. He's finally figured it out. You should have given him an earlier opportunity because now his trade value isn't there. His star value isn't there. He has just once billed a former top prospect who maybe became an everyday player but is not a star. That is where my frustration comes in. You know me. I love to make it all about me. I think that's why we're going to work so well. So I do want to say you're welcome to the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you would like to ask me why, I would love to answer.
Why are you saying you're welcome to the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Juxton Garcia. And I know I'm butchering that name, but the man that I'm trying to figure out his nickname because he has a great nickname. The outfielder, that the password, which, by the way, do you know who the password played for or where he's from?
No.
Do you know where the password's from? Venezuela. Venezuela. So he was once a top prospect, and I know I just said I hate that term, but he was one of the higher ranked prospects in the Red Sox organization. He was traded this offseason, and I have this mindset of said he wasn't going to cut it in Boston's outfield. Not with Jarren Duran, not with Roman Anthony, not with Willie Abreu, and Masataka Yoshida coming off the bench. And Cedane Rafaela can also play in the outfield, and I believe he will. So with 5 outfielders, there was no room for the password. So what do? Where did Boston struggle last year? Well, the rotation. So they traded Garcia to Pittsburgh. They got Oviedo, and some of these names I'm going to butcher, and I don't want to sound like comedian Joey Diaz stumbling over names. So I'm only going to go with names that I can pronounce. But they got Oviedo from the Pirates, and he has looked amazing in spring training. And Garcia, no one expected this, Brandon. They expected him to go back to the minor leagues. He broke the major league camp and roster to start the regular season. That's what I'm talking about. And I hate to give credit to a team in the NL Central, but the Pirates are exactly what I'm talking about. A team with some star power in Paul Skeens. A team has more questions than answers from top to bottom, yet they're willing to let their young players FO.
But see, here's the thing about teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're willing to let their young teams, their young players figure it out so that they can trade them to teams that will actually use them.
But that's fine. I don't care. I don't care what they do. I quite simply don't care if Paul Skeens wears 9 jerseys in his career. If I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, what is there to do in Pittsburgh? We're talking on March 21st. All right. The Steelers don't have a quarterback. Mike McCarthy is your head coach, and Pittsburgh will forever be a football town. They don't have an NBA team. The best thing happening to the city of Pittsburgh right now is the PFL is going there with massive middleweight fights on March 28th. You're welcome, Pittsburgh. So you either have the Steelers or the Pirates. I don't care. I don't care. Give me your young talent and let me watch, because what does DC have? What does DC have? They have the Commanders. Okay. Fell off the face of the earth this year. They have the Wizards. Oh, that's cool. Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Yeah, hospital bed 1 and 2 on line 1 in DC. And outside of that, the best thing the Nationals have going for them is James Wood.
Why do you keep forgetting about these places' hockey teams? Pittsburgh Penguins are pretty damn good.
You know what? With all due
Washington
respect,
Capitals just won a Stanley Cup a couple years ago.
With all due respect, you are the hockey guy, and I'll allow you to talk hockey. But I'm talking. I did mention earlier my big 3 are baseball, football, basketball. And I don't ever want to speak.
I can't believe you still watch basketball with a leader in LeBron James who's putting patches on his uniform to acknowledge his accomplishments.
The NBA is giving him that. The NBA is giving him those.
He's requesting it, and the NBA is saying yes.
He's not my leader first and foremost, okay? All right. So that very infamous scene in Black Panther, is this your king? No, he's not. My king resides in Boston with the number 0, and also I have 2 kings. Number 0, I have 3 kings actually. Number 0, number 7, and Joe Mazzulla. Thank you very much. I cannot wait to see all 3 of them in the Basketball Hall of Fame in the future. That's why I watch basketball still, Brandon, because my team wins and my team defies odds and my team overcomes the national narrative of this was a down year. And let's get back on track. You're right. I apologize to these cities. I do forget their hockey teams, but I'm not going to speak out of turn. I'm not going to say a hockey team is good or bad when I don't know. Right? I've paid this much attention to hockey this year. And I will continue that trend.
I'm disappointed.
Well, you can be a part of my family then, because everyone in my family is disappointed in me. All right? You could be one of many exes in my life. Everyone's disappointed in me, except who I've surrounded myself with now. But every once in a while, I will still disappoint. I just think, to wrap this up, if you're a bad team in baseball, you play your young talent.
Yeah.
Because you have to buy me in at some point.
No, I agree. I just think there are times where you've got guys who they're just not figuring it out. So you have to do something. You got to give somebody else an opportunity. I mean, to continue to play a guy who's not figuring it out, like Dylan Cruz or Rodriguez, even let's say the Yankees were a bad team. If they're not figuring it out, at some point you got to see if somebody else can. Right? Like you got to see, if somebody else can, if you're not figuring it out right now, I'm going to see if this guy can do it. You go. But I'm not going to sit Dylan Cruz on the bench so that Joey Wiemer can play because he might be able to figure it out. I'm going to send you down to AAA so you can have at-bats because you're not going to figure it out on the bench. You're going to figure it out at the plate. You're going to figure it out doing the thing that you need to do, which is swing more. And so that's why sometimes I do understand. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you with a lot of it. I mean, when the Cubs were bad in 2015 or 2014, and then heading into the 2015 season, you saw Chris Bryant just absolutely destroy spring training and not break camp with the team. I'm like, what are we doing? We were terrible last year. Why aren't we bringing Chris Bryant up? And then I understood, hey, we're doing this because of service time and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't care. We were bad. Let's try to be good. And then Chris Bryant comes up, Cubs go to the NLCS. The rest is written. Sometimes you have to make moves to watch your team to be better. And sometimes those moves just, sometimes you have to send these guys down. You just have to.
Well, we'll argue and debate this all season. But before we get out of here, let's give our predictions. Let's do it this way. Let's give our division winners. And I'm going to be very clear. Brandon, I tried to do this. I tried to do this as non-biased as possible. It is extremely hard. Also, you know me, I like to go off the cuff because I like to tell people I was right and they were wrong. And, I have hand issues. Like my hands hurt a lot. And I don't have the best health insurance. But I was able to get into a doctor and find out my hands hurt because I'm always patting myself on the back because I'm always that right. I'm always that damn good. By the way, shout out to our other boss for creating this monster ego that you see before you. This is the character that is Mikey P at this point. All right, Brandon, let's start in the AL because I don't think you're going to like two of my three division winners. So I will just give you my list of winners. Then we'll talk. Then you give me yours and we'll talk. And then we'll move over to the National League before we give our award prediction. So in the AL East, I mean, really, do I have to say it? Do I have to say it or are you going to say it for me? It is the Boston Red Sox. It is their biggest problem. Their biggest problem was the starting rotation. And I fully believe they figured that out this past offseason. When Peyton Toll and Conley Early cannot even crack the rotation, and they're two of the best young arms in all of baseball, well, that tells me that this team figured it out. Now, did I ever believe that I would be rooting for a 400-year-old dinosaur in Sonny Gray? No, I didn't. But I believe in Sonny Gray. I believe there will be plenty of sunny days in Boston at Fenway this year. So I've got the Red Sox winning the AL East.
In my favorite Stephen A. voice, stay off the weed.
Well, that was not. You did not sound like Stephen A. If you think that's bad, you may not. I thought I got something from you, or I was gonna get something from you for the other two picks. So maybe I'll get a feedback here on all three. Because in the AL Central, Brandon, this guy took center stage at shortstop for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, and I now believe he has the most talent behind him in the lineup and in the field of play, and that is Bobby Witt and the Kansas City Royals. I like the Royals to win the AL Central and then the AL West. They were so close with one of my favorite players in the entire sport, Josh Naylor at first base. I'm taking the Seattle Mariners to win the AL West.
Ooh. All right. So I actually don't have a problem with 2 out of 3. You're crazy with the Red Sox, though. I mean, Sonny Gray is the number 2 starter. Johan Oviedo, I know you called him Oviedo earlier. Oviedo. If Sonny Gray captures a tenth of what he used to be, maybe, but I mean, Sonny Gray just doesn't move the needle anymore. I do like Bayo. Brian Bayo, I love that kid as the 4th starter. I think he's actually probably going to end up being the Red Sox ace at some point. I don't know where I'm at. And then Garrett Crochet, you have to worry about health. So that's why I can't get there with the Red Sox in the East. I love your passion for your team. I hope you're right because, it just makes it more fun if we both have good teams. And I just think that I think that the Red Sox aren't quite at the level of the team that I have to win the division, which is also not the New York Yankees, by the way.
I know
it
where
is
you're going.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, God.
The Baltimore Orioles are going to win the AL East. They did plenty this offseason to get back to where they were last year. Look, they dealt with a ton of injuries last year. I mean, it was ridiculous. The roster was depleted. But Kyle Bradish is an absolute dog on the mound. And he is going to be the key for the Baltimore Orioles this year. And I think that this is going to be a guy that you're going to watch as the season goes on. And he's going to be a prospect for the Cy Young Award winner. He is unreal on the mound. But when you look at Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish, Chris Bassett, Shane Baz, and Zach Eflin as your 5, I mean, that rotation looks pretty good. And then they added Ryan Helsley to close out games for them. They've still got Andrew Kittredge and who's the other kid that I like over there? Rico Garcia. I really like this Baltimore Orioles team. I think that they are going to win the East. The Central, I'm a little bit more conflicted. I'm okay with your Royals pick. I just still think that this is the Tigers' division to lose. And I know that they almost blew the division last year to Cleveland. I think they had like a 15-game lead in the division that just decided to go away. And then they had to win it on the last day of the season. But I just think that this Tigers team is too good. I do love the Royals, though, man. That the Royals rotation is really good as well, but their lineup. I mean, Miguel Garcia, who we saw in the World Baseball Classic, Bobby Witt, who we saw in the World Baseball Classic, Vinny Pasquantino, who we saw in the World Baseball Classic, Joe Caglianone, who we saw in a Baseball Classic. Like, these guys can play ball. This lineup is really damn good, and Bobby Witt might be one of my favorite players in all of baseball to watch. I'm just going to pick the Detroit Tigers because I think that's still their division to lose. And then when you go to the AL West, I'm actually in conjunction with you. I think it's the Seattle Mariners winning the AL West. I think the Texas Rangers are going to give them a run for their money. They have a godlike pitching staff in Texas. It's uncanny. And if their lineup can figure it out, and if their lineup can be consistent throughout the year, which is what the problem has been for the Rangers over the last couple of years, is just injuries and inconsistency at the plate. I think the Texas Rangers could give them a run for their money, but I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners as well. I love that Mariners team, man. From top to bottom in their lineup and that pitching rotation and their bullpen, I don't know, other than the Texas Rangers, who can compete with that pitching staff.
I agree. Brian Woo's one of my favorite pitchers in all of baseball. Logan Gilbert's a stud. Bryce Miller, another one of my favorite pitchers. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's funny when Luis Castillo may be one of your best pitchers and you don't talk about him until the fourth or fifth arm that you mentioned. All right, I'm going to get to the Rangers here in a minute, but let's go to the NL side. In the NL East, I know for a fact you're going to hate two of these three picks because I think it's obvious who I'm taking to win the Central. So in the East, I'm all in, dude. I am all in. They bought me. Just like they bought their roster. I am taking the New York Mets to win the NL East. I am taking the Cubs to win the NL Central. And you know what? Damn it. Sometimes you got to go against the grain. And you can buy $900 million players. You can spend $5 billion on everything in your stadium. You can whatever. You can have the best player in baseball as both a pitcher and as a hitter. Doesn't do it for me. I have the Padres winning the NL West.
Wow. I mean, I love the balls behind the pick.
Well, let me be clear. The Padres, I'm not like, as I'm talking right now, I'm like, oh, wait, they did lose a lot this offseason. However, I am never going to pick the Dodgers for anything. Anything. Absolutely nothing. If I was in a torture chamber and there was physical acts of violence that could be brought against me, or I had to watch Dodger games, beat me up. I don't want to watch the Dodger games. I don't want to watch that lineup. And also, see, these picks would be called hot takes or crazy or psychotic. But when, in my opinion, in more than any other sport, you have to think long-term injuries. And while the Dodgers have the most talented roster top to bottom in all of baseball, they're not all 25 years old.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm going against age here more than anything. And that's why I go against the Dodgers.
I just think I'll start in the NL West. I just think the Dodgers are going to win it again because of their roster. They're just so good, and they are pretty damn deep. That rotation is so damn good. They showed last year that they can withstand injuries and still win that division. And they did that last year. And then they went on and won the World Series, by the way. So until somebody proves me wrong, I'm rooting against them. I hope that you're right. I hope it's the Padres. I hope that some team comes up out of nowhere and knocks the Dodgers off. I hope the Dodgers miss the playoffs. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think the Dodgers are going to probably end up representing the National League in the World Series again. But again, I'm rooting against it. You're picking the NL East. Well, actually, you know what? Let me go to the NL Central because I agree. It's the Cubs. It's the Cubs. I think the Reds are going to give them some heat because I think the Reds are really good. They started coming on in the second half of last year. I think the Brewers take a huge step back. The loss of Freddie Peralta, and then they've got an injury-prone pitching staff. I just don't think they're going to be able to replicate what they did last year, where they shocked everybody and had the best record in all of baseball. I actually think that the Reds are in second and the Pirates are in third. So I think that the Brewers take a huge step back this year. I think that the Cubs win that division as they should win that division with the roster that they have. But in the NL East is something where we are vastly different because I'm not falling into the trap of the New York Mets again. I'm just not. I don't care how much money they spend. I don't care what they do. You still look at great addition of Freddie Peralta. Great addition with Devin Williams. You know what I mean? The problem's going to be getting it there. The problem's going to be getting it to Devin Williams with the middle relief. It just, I mean, it looks awful. And after Freddie Peralta, sure, you have Nolan McLean, but we saw what he did in the World Baseball Classic. If he can keep the ball in the freaking yard, that'd be a miracle. And you got Kodai Senga, David Peterson, and Sean Manaea? The failed Sean Manaea?
Well, Manaea
you're not going to fool me again with the New York Mets. I'm out on the New York Mets until they prove that they can actually put something together. I don't care how much money they spend year after year. They find a way to disappoint, and I think they're going to do it again. I know a lot of people are on the Atlanta Braves this year. And look, if they're healthy, I think that this Braves team can be really, really good. I think they can be a problem for the team that I think is going to win the NL East, and I think that that's the Philadelphia Phillies. Look, this pitching rotation is the best in the division, top to bottom. They added Brad Keller in their middle relief. They got Jose Alvarado. And then by the way, their closer is now Johan Duran. If you remember him in Minnesota coming in where the lights shut off and the fire starts coming out of the screens everywhere, dude is electric and untouchable as a closer. And then their lineup, man, Real Mutual, Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, Brandon Marsh, Justin Crawford, Adolis Garcia, who they added. Adolis Garcia is now on the Phillies, and Kyle Schwarber. I don't think this team's touchable in the NL East. I think the Philadelphia Phillies run away with it.
I'll hear you on the Mets bullpen, and I would argue that the Mets at the end of the year have a better lineup statistically than the Philadelphia Phillies. That's how good I believe the Mets will be this year. I am willing to friendly wager that the Mets have a better hitting statistical lineup than the Phillies this year.
I'll bet you a lunch on that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's fine with me. All right. Let's get into our awards here. And again, Brandon, just remember, I like to be off the cuff. To that point of who I believe in and who I like, Brandon, not going with favorites, not doing this for betting odds, doing this simply because of who I believe in. My AL MVP for the 2026 season, Bobby Witt. That's how good I think the Royals will be this year.
I like that.
My NL MVP, Juan Soto, because that's how good I believe the Mets will be this year. And I think at some point, the pressure of New York either makes or breaks people. I think that goes without saying, whether you're talking pro athletes or just regular people. And I think Juan Soto coming into this year will prove why the Mets did what they did and paid him all that money. I think he'll win MVP. I'll just go down the list and then I'll get your picks for all the awards. My Cy Young, I'm going to keep you on your toes. I have two favorites and two stay on your toes here. Garrett Crochet, obviously. I mean, Tarek Skubal is nice, but here's my problem going back to why I like the Royals more in the AL Central as well. I think Tarek Skubal's head's in the wrong place. You saw it in the World Baseball Classic. He's chasing that money, and all do, right? Go get your bag. But I don't think he's going to be all in on the Tigers. I think he's going to be looking for his next home, and I don't think he's going to be from April to September, October, he's going to be the best pitcher, not even in the American League, in Major League Baseball. I don't think he's going to be the best pitcher in the American League. I think Garrett Crochet answered a lot of questions last year, and that is not with a great team behind him. I think the Red Sox have taken a big step this year. Paul Skeens in the National League for the two favorites that I like to win the Cy Young. Now, if you want to stay on your toes, plays here, Brandon, give me Mackenzie Gore of the Texas Rangers to be a candidate for the Cy Young. And in the National League, you mentioned him as a loss to his former team. I think he could be very well be the reason why this team's a contender, and that's Freddie Peralta of the New York Mets. So my favorites are Crochet and Skeens. My long shots are Gore and Peralta. I think you know where I'm going with Rookie of the Year. I think that goes without saying. Connor Griffin will be the National League Rookie of the Year. And Murakami, the power
I did not
hitter
think you were going there.
For the power hitter for the Chicago White Sox. Listen, I don't think the White Sox are going to be a good team, but I do think the White Sox are going to be a team that you hate playing. And some of these teams like the Dodgers and the Padres and the Mets, like all these teams that we've talked about of being division winners and representing, their respective leagues in the playoffs, they may find themselves losing out on standings and seeding because they didn't take the White Sox seriously. And I think Murakami will be a huge reason for that. I think if you're driving down I-94 in Chicago, watch out. There may be a baseball or two that goes through your window. I truly love this kid on the south side of Chicago. And then, this is the most homer pick of them all. My managers of the year, you guessed it, Alex Cora, Craig Counsell.
Okay. All right. I like it. I will let me go in reverse order because I don't even remember the entire order that you went in there. But I'll go reverse order. Let's go with my managers of the year in the American League. As you could tell that I don't prepare anything. I go off the cuff. So in the American League, I am going to actually go with now his name's going to escape me. Craig Albernaz, manager of the Baltimore Orioles. I think the Orioles win the East. I think that he is the American League Manager of the Year. National League Manager of the Year, I do believe, is going to be Craig Counsell. I think that the Cubs might compete for the best record in the National League this year, and I think that Craig Counsell will walk away with that award. Rookie of the Year, I agree with you on Connor Griffin in the National League. I think Connor Griffin's going to win that award. In the American League, the reason why I chuckled, not because of who you pick, because I do like the Murakami pick, I just think you missed an opportunity, brother. How are you not going to support your brother? How are you not going to support your Italian Jack Caglianone? Because I think Jack Cags is going to win the AL Rookie of the Year. And if you're right about the MVP, I think Kansas City is going to have the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. But I don't know that you're right there. Cy Young Award winners. Look, I'd like to go off the cuff and tell you that Paul Skeens isn't going to win it again, but Paul Skeens is going to win it again in the National League. The dude is just ridiculous on the mound. Watching him in the World Baseball Classic was so much fun, and watching him night in and night out, every fifth night in and night out for the Pittsburgh Pirates is a lot of fun. So I think that he's going to win the award. You know who I think could give it a run though? Shohei Ohtani. Watch Shohei Ohtani as the dark horse, Cy Young, in the National League. Dude, I'm telling you, imagine how much baseball would want a guy who could win the MVP and win the Cy Young. I know pitchers have won the MVP and the Cy Young before, but no pitcher has ever won the MVP and the Cy Young because of their hitting skills as the MVP. So I think that it makes it a different award for Shohei Ohtani if he could win it. So I think that that's a dark horse. If he has a good year, I think Major League Baseball might try to push that issue just a little bit. And then in the American League, you could go a couple of different ways, I believe. But ultimately, in the American League, my Cy Young Award winner is going to be Kyle Bradish. I think he is going to be the guy who is the nuts and bolts. He is going to be the blood stopper. He is going to be everything for this Baltimore Orioles rotation. I think he's a guy who can end with an ERA of under 2. And I think that he is a guy that can absolutely dominate every single time that he is on the mound. So I like Kyle Bradish to win that award. My dark horse is Max Fried with the New York Yankees. Dude's just a dog, and he's a Yankee. And baseball loves when Yankees win awards. My MVPs in the National League, look, as long as Shohei Ohtani is a two-way player, I just find it so difficult for people to beat Shohei Ohtani for that award. So I think he's going to win that award. But if I had to give you a player to watch that could take that award away, that could possibly take that award away, I would look at our guy here in Chicago. And I'm not going Alex Bregman.
Oh, you son of a.
I'm going with the three-letter guy who could be a new three-letter guy, PCA, MVP. I think he's your dark horse for the MVP. And in the American League, look, there's a lot. This is an award that will give you some pause to actually look at when you're looking at it preseason. But I think Pete Alonso with Baltimore. I think he's going to be the difference maker in that lineup. I think he's got a shot to win MVP, and I think he will win his first MVP award as a member of the Baltimore Orioles. And I think that the dark horse for that award is your guy, Bobby Witt Jr.
All right. So, Brandon, let me ask you this before let's wrap this up because we've been going about 90 minutes. It's
going to happen a lot with us.
You're a betting man, are you not?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You like baseball, apparel, and merchandise, correct?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I don't know. You asked me in your Stephen A impression, which I thought, it is what it is, to stay off the damn weed. I'll just straight up ask you, this is a podcast that we started between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
We don't drug test here, but I think you need a CT scan. I think you need a drug test on every different level of drug testing that there is. I think you need regular street drug test. I think you need MLB drug testing. I don't know what you're on. So I'm willing to throw out this bet to you here. It's a two-parter because I want to see just how much you believe in this wacky idea. Let me just say how I feel. This wacky-ass, backwards-ass idea of the Baltimore Orioles. So, Brandon, here I say to you, right now, March 21st, if the Baltimore Orioles have a better record than the Boston Red Sox at the All-Star break, I owe you an Orioles hat, which you have to wear during the season. If the Orioles beat the Red Sox and have a better record, I will buy you a Baltimore Orioles jersey. And you cannot say, it has to be a Cubs one. No, this is the team you're sticking on. This is what's got me fired up. So then the bet here is vice versa. So if you agree to these terms and conditions, I very much look forward to not only having a new 2026 Red Sox hat at the All-Star break, but also a Roman Anthony jersey to support in the playoffs while Baltimore's sitting at home going, damn, I wish we were as good as them.
I accept that bet. Wholeheartedly, I accept that bet because the Boston Red Sox aren't going to sniff what the Baltimore Orioles are this year. And let me take that one further. With your crazy ass, wacky ass backwards idea that the Mets are going to win the NL East, and this is going to hurt you way more as a Red Sox fan. If the Mets have a better record than the Philadelphia Phillies at the All-Star break, you have to wear a Mets hat.
Perfect. That's fine. Well, so we'll do that for the AL and the NL. So either one of us is getting two hats and two jerseys throughout the season this year. Mm-hmm. And we'll obviously be going through the great company of Fanatics. I absolutely love Fanatics.
And you're getting Mookie Wilson jersey just because.
You're going to give me a who?
Mookie Wilson. You remember who he is, right?
No.
It gets through Buckner.
Okay. All right. You're terrible for that, by the way. and you have, for the record, like if you're on the Phillies, then it has to be a Phillies jersey. Listen, I have to accept the bet, right? But just know this: I absolutely despise Bryce Harper. So I guess I know where you'll go in terms of a jersey because I would so much rather a Kyle Schwarber jersey. I don't despise Bryce Harper. I just don't know that the juice has ever been worth the squeeze in Bryce Harper's career. I'll just say that. The Philly that I absolutely cannot stand, and I am not shy about it ever. In baseball, there are three cities I can't stand: the New York Yankees, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I will never come off of that pedestal. I'll never get off my high horse on that. And I'm okay with that. Everybody can say I'm a homer, I'm one-sided, I'm by it. That's fine. overall, I have a lot of feelings towards the city of Philadelphia, and none of them are nice. So, Brandon, I love your thoughts and your picks this year. I do want to hit on one thing before we get out of here. You mentioned Jack Caglione. I think he played too much at the back half of the season to be a part of the awards because he is not listed on DraftKings. It is actually Carter Jensen, the expected DH part-time catcher for the Royals, who is the Royals. He's actually the third highest favorite to win the AL Rookie of the Year.
That's crazy.
Carter Jensen, a plus 550. Trey Savage is the betting odds favorite at plus 425. Kevin McCongle of the Detroit Tigers at plus 500. And Murakami of the White Sox is a plus 750. So,
did Jack play too many games to qualify last year?
I believe so.
I don't think he did.
I'm just going off of what. Listen, it's
he only
taking
played
everything
8 games last year with the Royals.
He played how many?
8.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. I just looked it up. He had 26 plate appearances. So he's definitely eligible. Jack Haggs is winning that award. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm so confident that Jack Haggs is winning this award. I'm going on my app right now, and I'm going to go down this list and find Jack Haggs on this list on BetMGM, and I'm going to play some money because if he's that far down on the list, that means he has some significant plus money.
So hold on, and I would never call you out how you called me out for mispronouncing players' names, which I very much appreciate. How many plate appearances did he have, Brandon?
According to Baseball Reference, he had 26 plate appearances.
Try 210. He played in 62 games last year.
Why does Baseball Reference say he only had 26?
He batted 157, great, with 7 home runs and 18 RBIs. He had 210 at-bats.
Does that disqualify him?
I would assume the 200, either the 60 games played or the 200 at-bats would have to disqualify him.
Hold on, I'm looking at the at-bats. This is great on the spot radio, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fantastic. I'm just trying to figure out why you would argue with me. That's why I've been saying.
Yeah, like, he does. 130 at bats disqualifies you, so that would disqualify him. So I have to pick a new Rookie of the Year because it can't be Jack Haggs.
Well, why don't you just stay on your Orioles kick? Why don't you just go with Dylan Beavers?
I love the name, by the way.
I'm sure you do. I mean, I've just never seen someone who I know is such a fan of a certain team go all in on their award picks. Dude, you got me fired up. Like, I want to run through a door right now because the Baltimore Orioles, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They haven't been relevant to the Miguel Tejada, Melvin Mora days. Like, what are we doing here?
I've got my other guy that you failed to think about, and I know he's not on an opening day roster, but Travis Bazzana.
Thank you. I'm okay with that. I love him. Aussie. I love it. You finally got something right. Congratulations, Brandon. You're stuck in Baltimore. Hey, by the way, Max Crosby doesn't even want to be there.
Why do you hate the Orioles so much?
Because you know what? Now I'm adding the city of Baltimore right in place with my hatred.
You're a Red Sox fan who picked the Mets to win a division. That right there should make it so that people in Boston don't want you to be a fan of their team anymore.
No, that doesn't work like that. Listen, first and foremost, I can't pick Philly on anything. On absolutely anything. For anything,
but you
anywhere.
Can pick a New York team?
The other New York team? Yeah, absolutely, obviously. You picked Baltimore, my guy.
Because they're going to win the division.
Listen,
I'm right.
Congratulations to the city of Baltimore. You have now joined my list. In the famous words of WWE or now AEW star Chris Jericho, you just made the list. Baltimore and Philadelphia, 2 of my most hated places in not just America, the world, especially when it comes to sports. So Baltimore and Philly be gone. Brandon, that means as of this day, do not ever ask me to side with the Orioles on anything. Maybe if they're playing the Yankees. Do not ask me to pick the Baltimore Ravens on anything. Maybe if they're playing the Green Bay Packers. That is about it. I am done with the city of Baltimore. I am done with you. I cannot
Oh my
believe...
God, who the hell cares?
You know what? Sometimes you just want to get some things off your chest. And I mean, that's how I felt when you gave out picks for the city of Baltimore. It is what it is. Brandon, any closing thoughts on today?
I love you, brother. A great episode, great show. I can't wait next week when we do this show next Saturday. We're going to have actual baseball to talk about, actual games, actual records, actual opening day, all of this stuff. I think Thursday is about to be the greatest sports day on the calendar year this year, with the Sweet 16 going on and Major League Baseball opening day, just jam-packed. And guys like me and Mikey P are going to be so stressed out because all we have to do is watch all of these sports and talk about them, report on them, write about them, do 5-hour damn national radio shows about them. But we love it all. Can't wait to see you guys next week.
We do love it all. And so here we go, Brandon. So my Red Sox only have one game between now, actual game. So never mind, because I wanted to know where our teams would stand in the AL East coming into next Saturday's show. It literally doesn't matter. It's a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday series to start Major League Baseball next week for most teams. You know what? Bring on the Cincinnati Reds. And I guess Baltimore, you have it so hard. Here's how you know what? Here's how Baltimore's first 3, 6, 9, 12 games are. The Minnesota Twins, the Texas Rangers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Chicago White Sox. And Brandon, I'm a little more loose cannon on this show than I am on our morning show. So you're going to see something you'll never, ever see in the morning. And maybe it's because it's a Saturday afternoon and I'm a little fired up and I want to enjoy my weekend. But you're going to sandbag with a Baltimore Orioles team that gets their fourth series of the year like that. Let me show what a real team gets. The Red Sox have the Reds, the Astros, the Padres, and the Brewers. Brandon, be better, pick better, do better. The Baltimore Orioles get a cakewalk of a schedule to start the season, and they'll still be below 500 after the first 4 series. I'm out of here.